Okay, whoops, going to paint a little demo of a Kookaburra, and we'll see how we go. I hope you like it. Okie doke. First of all, we are going to block in the browns. I use a mixture of ultramarine blue and a brown to give me a little bit of a variation. So we will start off with the little blaze on the Kookaburra's face, which they all have, and the markings around the eye and going up towards the top of the head. They're all different, but this one is slightly looking away and he has his back to us, so you can see his little head. And we're just going to do the little marking on the beak that they all have, and then we are going to, using the blue and the brown again, you do the back and the wings, the wing area here. Now they're pretty mottled, some of them. The lighter they are, I think they're the females. Oh, that's a little bit dark, but that's okay. I'm just moving quickly to paint in a feathery motion to give a simulation of feathers. They have a little bit of white in their feathers. You notice I always take moisture off my brush. That is important with watercolour. And here we go. We'll just put a simulation of some feathers down there. Okay. Right, now with a combination of the ultramarine blue and the brown leaning towards the blue, we will paint his beak. This needs to be done a little carefully, so using the point of my brush, I'll just pull that in, making sure that drag that along there like that, and here we go. There you go, they're slightly curved downwards. Okie doke. Rightio. Okie doke. With a bluey grey colour, which is leaning towards the blue, I'll just put in a little bit of the shadow just under here, and a little bit of shadow. I'll use some water to wet that. It's just where the back of his head is. Now I'm going to give him a little bit of a line between the feathers and the back, because that's where the wings go. There is a little bit of white in the feathers, but we will deal with that in a minute. With the blue we go and the brown to a grey colour, we're going to just put in some wing shadows, just some shadows in the feathers, because they are they're white but not perfectly white, just to give them a little bit of colour. Okay. Righty-o. The bottom of the beak, remembering that you don't want to put in any watercolour that actually touches anything else while it's wet, because it does bleed. Yeah, so just do that there. Take a little bit off because it's a little bit dark. Right, for his eye, I don't usually use black, but in this instance I will, because they usually brown their eyes, but this one I'm going to just paint in that colour. Now the back of the tail and up into the bottom is a reddy brown colour, which they all have. That always faces to the outside of the bird. Just giving a mixture of 2 reddy coloured browns, a burnt sienna and an ochre colour. And I'll go back into that and put markings in there for it a little bit later. That gives you where his tail and the bottom of his body part comes. Okay, well that's drying, and before I put any more detail on it, I'll just put in this branch that he's sitting on. This is a lovely way of doing branches. I wet the entire branch, then using mixtures of brown and blue, a little bit of black in this case. That's a little bit dark. I'll just change that. I just let the watercolour do its thing here. Normally it will just run into the water that I've already just put down. I'll give it a little bit of help here and just outline this branch. I'm actually going to put in a little bit of blue over the brown and see what happens. This usually mixes nicely by itself, so it gives that, remembering that the bottom of the branch is always fairly dark. And then with the reddy brown, I'm just going to just touch up there, and hopefully they'll all mix. You'll find with watercolour that it does its own thing a lot of the time. Right, just there's a little bit of a shadow underneath, just underneath here, so we'll just give them that. I'll just take that off a little bit, and yeah, so we're just about finished. We'll put some greenery in using various greens. We'll just simulate a little bit of greenery coming in there, just to give it a little bit more interest. It's just simulating. That's pretty green. I'll just use another green to break that up a bit, a little bit olive green. That's nice, and I'm doing it over wet paint, so it'll mix. Just as if he was sitting in a tree. Just bring those up a little bit, just to there you go. And while I've done that, it is now a lot drier here, so I can put in the markings that you usually find on his tail. Very quickly done. It's such a small painting, so it's kind of a zigzaggy mark that you get. And with a little bit of white, excuse me, I will put in some markings on his eye, making sure that it is not too wet, otherwise it will run for me. Just very carefully, just a little C around the eye, and just emphasize that little part there, and a little bit of white on the bottom of the tail, just for, you can't really see that, and a few markings where the feathers at the bottom of those wings actually have white markings, and a little bit of white markings on there, just to give them a little bit more character. And voila, there we have a kookaburra.